the hidden source of suffering, and the power to set yourself free. Suffering doesn't come from the things that happen to you. It comes from how you respond to them. More precisely, it comes from your resistance to what is. If you're caught in a cycle of emotional pain and can't seem to find a way out, the first truth you must face is both uncomfortable and liberating. Suffering is not created by external events. It is created by your internal refusal to accept them. Most people spend their entire lives unaware of this. They wake up every day carrying the same emotional wounds, replaying the same heartbreaks, and reacting to life with the same pain, not realizing that the true source of their suffering isn't out there. It's within them. Carl Jung once said, "What you resist persists." These words aren't just poetic. They reveal a deep psychological and spiritual truth. Resistance gives pain its power, and the more you fight reality, the more you feed your suffering. Let's pause here and reflect. When something painful happens, whether it's the end of a relationship, losing a job, betrayal, rejection, or a dream falling apart, your first emotional response is natural. You feel sadness, anger, confusion, fear. These are all valid and human. But the suffering, that doesn't come from the event. It comes from the internal struggle, from the part of your mind that screams, "This shouldn't be happening. It's not fair. I can't take this." It's this voice of resistance, the unwillingness to accept what is, that turns pain into a prison. That is what keeps you trapped. You see, the human mind craves control. We want things to go according to plan. We long for stability, predictability, and comfort. But life doesn't care about your plans. It moves in its own rhythm. It brings both joy and chaos. So when life throws you into the unexpected, your instinct is to resist, to push back, to say, "No, not this, not now." And it's in that resistance that suffering takes root. Take heartbreak, for example. The initial pain of losing someone can be intense. It might last for weeks or even months. But if that pain lingers for years, if you keep reliving the moments, replaying the conversations, holding on to what was, it's not the breakup that's tormenting you. It's your refusal to let go. The same applies to betrayal, failure, rejection, or grief. The event is real. The loss is real. But the suffering, that aching, endless mental replay, is your resistance trying to undo what has already happened. So how do you break free? It begins with something radical, something many fear because they misunderstand it. It's called radical acceptance. Now let's be clear. Acceptance does not mean approval. It doesn't mean you're okay with what happened. It doesn't mean it didn't hurt. Acceptance simply means you stop fighting what already is. You stop pouring your energy into a battle you cannot win. You begin to turn your attention toward what you can influence, your response, your healing, your growth. And when you do that, when you truly accept the reality of your situation, something changes. The emotional weight begins to lift, not because the pain disappears overnight, but because you've stopped feeding it. You're no longer adding fuel to the fire of your own suffering. Imagine someone who's been fired. If they hold on to resentment and blame, they can stay stuck for years, feeling victimized, angry, and bitter. But if they accept what happened and ask themselves, "What now? What can I learn? Where do I go from here?" they begin to take back control. They stop reacting and start responding. That's where transformation begins. Pain is a universal human experience. Everyone suffers, but not everyone evolves. The difference lies in how you relate to the pain. Some resist it and stay stuck. Others accept it and grow wiser. If you want to be free, truly free, the first step is to end the war within yourself. Accept what happened. Accept what you cannot change. Accept what already is. Then shift all your energy toward what you can change. Here's the part no one tells you. Most of the pain you carry wasn't caused by what happened. It was caused by how long you held on to it. A breakup hurt, but it was your attachment to the past that prolonged the pain. A betrayal shattered your trust, but it was your refusal to release resentment that kept you chained to the experience. A lost opportunity made you feel stuck, but it was your obsession with what should have been that kept you from moving forward. When you let go of resistance, suffering begins to dissolve. It won't vanish overnight, but it will start to loosen its grip on your mind, your heart, and your soul. But now comes the deeper question, one that opens the door to even greater understanding. If suffering is caused by resistance, and we know this, why do we keep repeating the same painful patterns? The answer lies within the hidden parts of your mind, the unconscious. Your unconscious mind holds the real script behind your suffering. You may think life is just hard or unfair. You may feel cursed by bad luck or haunted by the same emotional pain again and again. But the truth is more empowering and more confronting. You're repeating your pain without even knowing it, not because you want to suffer, but because your unconscious mind was trained to keep you there. Carl Jung explained it perfectly. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. You see, if you grew up in an environment where love was unstable, where rejection was common, or where emotional safety was never guaranteed, those patterns became familiar. And what's familiar becomes your emotional blueprint, even if it's painful. So now, as an adult, you unconsciously attract the same situations, the same wounds, the same emotional outcomes. Not because you want to, but because your nervous system was trained to believe this is what life is. It's not fate, it's programming. You may wonder why every relationship ends in pain, why every success slips away, why you sabotage your own joy. These aren't accidents. They are unconscious repetitions of emotional patterns buried deep inside you. Your mind keeps choosing what it knows, even if it hurts. That's why self-sabotage is so powerful. Your conscious mind might say, I want love, peace, healing. But your unconscious mind says, this doesn't feel safe. Let's go back to what's familiar. And the cycle begins again. But here's the key. You cannot change what you do not see. So if you truly want to break free from the emotional loops that keep hurting you, the first step is awareness. Ask yourself, what emotion has been most dominant in my life? Rejection, fear, abandonment, shame. What kinds of relationships or patterns do I keep attracting? What story am I telling myself about who I am and what I deserve? When you start answering these questions honestly, you begin to uncover the unconscious patterns driving your suffering. And once you see them clearly, everything begins to shift. You're no longer reacting blindly. You're no longer a victim of fate. You begin to live with intention. Breaking free from suffering doesn't mean you'll never feel pain again. Pain is part of life. But it does mean you'll stop being a prisoner of your past. You'll stop being controlled by invisible wounds. You'll start choosing your life instead of reliving it. And in the next part of this journey, we'll dive even deeper. We'll uncover one of the most hidden forces that keeps you trapped in suffering: the ego. Because once you understand how your ego feeds on pain and how to take back your power from it, you'll finally unlock the freedom that's been waiting for you all along. The ego trap and the alchemy of pain: how to transform suffering into strength. The ego doesn't want you to heal. It doesn't want you to grow. It wants you stuck, trapped in cycles of blame, bitterness, and self-pity. It thrives when you believe that you're powerless, and it knows exactly how to keep you there. It whispers stories of victimhood. It tells you that life is unfair, that people have wronged you, that you're cursed with bad luck. And while these stories might feel comforting in the moment, like a shield that protects you from responsibility, they do something far more dangerous. They rob you of your personal power. Because if you keep believing that everything bad in your life is someone else's fault, you'll never believe you have the ability to change it. And that's exactly what the ego wants, to keep you small, helpless, and hurting. But here comes the harshest truth of all. No one is coming to save you. No matter how long you cry, how loud you scream, how many times you retell your story of pain, no one is going to rescue you. The only person who can break this cycle is you. So how do you do it? How do you dismantle the ego and take back control of your life? It begins with a powerful realization. You are not your ego. You are not your past. You are not the pain you've carried. You are not that voice inside your head telling you you'll always be a victim. The ego wants you to hold on to pain because that's what gives it an identity. But the moment you stop feeding it, it begins to die. And that's when something miraculous happens. You begin to awaken. There are 3 essential steps to breaking free from the grip of the ego. 1. Observe the voice in your head. The next time your inner voice tells you, life is unfair, or nothing ever works out for me, don't react. Just watch it. Listen like an observer. Realize that this voice is not you. It's a script, a programmed pattern repeating in your mind. The more you witness it without getting pulled in, the less power it has over you. 2nd, stop feeding the story of suffering. Every time you retell your story of pain, how someone hurt you, how unfair things were, you reinforce it. You strengthen the identity of the victim. So ask yourself, does this story empower me, or does it keep me weak? If it weakens you, let it go. You are not your story. You are the author, and you can write something new. 3. Do the opposite of what the ego wants. The ego wants you to react, to fight, to stay angry. But when you respond with calm, with forgiveness, with acceptance, you take your power back. You disarm the ego. You reclaim your life. Because here's the truth. The pain didn't destroy you. The ego's story about the pain did. And now, we arrive at one of the most transformative truths of all. You don't heal pain by resisting it. You heal by embracing it. From the moment we're children, we're told to avoid pain. Don't cry. Be strong. Tough it out. So we learn to repress pain, to hide it, to run from it. But what you resist persists. Unfelt pain doesn't disappear. It buries itself deep in your body, your mind, your nervous system. It becomes anxiety. It becomes anger. It becomes emotional numbness. Carl Jung understood this deeply. He said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. You cannot heal what you refuse to feel." Pain is like a force. When you push against it, it pushes back harder. That's why the more you try to escape your emotions, the more overwhelming they become. You distract yourself with work, with noise, with endless scrolling, anything to avoid being alone with yourself. But when the distractions fade, the pain comes roaring back, louder, darker, heavier. And still, we blame others. We say, they caused this. But the real healing begins the moment you stop pointing outward and start looking within. It's not the pain that destroys you. It's your resistance to it. So what's the way out? Accept the pain. Sit with it. Stop running. If you're sad, let yourself cry. If you're angry, feel the fire, but don't act on it blindly. Witness your emotions. Allow them. Feel them in your body. Let them move through you. And you'll begin to notice something incredible. The more you welcome pain as a natural part of being human, the less control it has over you. Every feeling is temporary. No emotion lasts forever. Not joy, not grief, not fear, not love. Everything moves. Everything passes. Think back to a time you thought you'd never survive. A heartbreak, a loss, a moment where life crushed you. And yet, here you are. You made it. This pain, too, will pass, but only if you allow it to. So how do you practice radical acceptance? First, stop judging your pain. Don't label it. Don't analyze it. Don't ask, why am I feeling this? Just let it be. It's not good or bad. It just is. Second, observe it in your body. Where does it live? Is it in your chest, your stomach, your throat? Breathe into it. Let your breath move through the emotion. Your job isn't to fix it. It's to feel it fully. Third, realize this. You are stronger than the pain. Not because you can fight it, but because you can face it with grace, with presence, with love. Most people spend their whole lives running from pain, but the only way to truly free yourself from suffering is to walk straight into it with open eyes and an open heart. And when you do that, when you stop fighting and start feeling, you awaken something sacred within you. You begin to transform. Carl Jung spoke often of alchemy, not the kind that turns metal into gold, but the spiritual kind, the kind that turns pain into wisdom, fear into courage, wounds into power. The real alchemy happens inside of you. Pain is the raw material. Your heart, your soul, your courage. That's the furnace. And what you create through that inner fire is a version of you that is unshakable. So the real question isn't, how do I avoid suffering? The real question is, how do I use it to become someone I've never been before? The strongest people you know didn't get there through ease. They walked through fire. They were broken and rebuilt themselves from the ashes. Every painful experience is a crossroads. You can let it close you off, or you can let it break you open. You can let it define you, or you can let it refine you. This is the path of transformation. This is how you rise. Carl Jung described it as the dark night of the soul, that time when everything seems to fall apart, when life feels unbearable, when you're face to face with your deepest suffering. But he didn't call it a curse. He called it a sacred initiation. It's in the moments when you feel most broken that you are closest to your breakthrough. So the next time pain visits you, ask, what is this here to teach me? How can I rise from this, not in spite of it, but because of it? That's when you stop being a victim and you become an alchemist. You begin to transform destruction into rebirth. You begin to shape pain into purpose. Each time life breaks you open, it removes the illusions that no longer serve you. It clears the path so that you can rebuild, not as who you were, but as who you're meant to become. Your story is your strength. Your pain is your power. Your healing is your revolution. So the next time you find yourself in darkness, remember, you are not breaking down. You are breaking open. Let this be the moment you stop hiding. Let this be the moment you say, I transform my pain into power. Because once you make that decision, once you choose to stop running and start rising, nothing and no one can stop you. This is not the end. This is the beginning. So if you're ready to awaken, ready to rise, ready to turn your pain into your purpose, subscribe now, turn on notifications, and prepare for the journey of a lifetime. The next video will shake your soul. Don't miss it.